Okay. Well, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining me again this week for a brief team session this Wednesday. Today we're going to be talking about using Zotero to manage your citations and create bibliographies for any article manuscripts you might be creating, submit to journals. I've gotten a few questions when I sent this invite out about whether or not the university still supports RefWorks. The university does officially support RefWorks. We purchased that from Ex Libris, the same company we get our library software from, but I just personally like Zotero better. I've tried to use RefWorks a little bit, found it a little cumbersome. I've had trouble getting the add-in for my Word application to work properly sometimes. So I thought maybe this would be useful for folks to see how we could use Zotero for what you might have used RefWorks for in the past. So today I'm just going to show how you can integrate the Zotero application within your Word application to use it to insert citations into your manuscript and also to automatically create a bibliography with a click of a button, which is pretty cool. There's an extension for Zotero that you can add to your browser, whether you're using Firefox or Chrome, that allows you to visit various databases and actually save citations from those different databases. You can save websites if you've accessed something like a newspaper article or something like that. So it's pretty cool. It's a pretty useful tool, the extension for your browser. There are a ton of citation styles built in, including AMA and APA. Those are already there. But if there's a chance that you're using a different style, you can actually get access to other styles and download them into your Zotero application and use those as well. Again, I said you can create a bibliography once you've written your manuscript with a click of a button. They do make a note on the website for the application that it's important to, of course, proofread your manuscript and to make sure the style matches whatever style you're using, whether it's AMA or APA, but it does a pretty good job. So I'm going to go ahead and minimize my PowerPoint and just show you the Zotero website. It's a free and open source application that you can download. I guess there's a paid version. I'm not really sure what the limitations are on the free version, but it looks like you can do quite a bit with the free version without having to pay anything for it. I have downloaded the application already. So this is what it looks like. These are some different projects that I've built in here, citations that I've added to the application. But before I show you these, I just want to show you that if you go to the Tools menu in the Zotero application, you'll find add-ons here. And you'll see that there's integration. I don't think anybody uses LibreOffice. I have it on my computer, but you can get the add-on for Word. So it actually incorporates the application within the Word program itself. And I'll show you really quickly that it adds a ribbon to your Microsoft Word here for Zotero that allows you to add citations or create bibliographies. And we'll look at what you can do with some of these different things. But this is basically what the application itself looks like. If you want to add the Zotero extension to your browser, if you go again to the tools and go install browser connector, that'll let you get the extension and add it directly to your browser. I've already installed it in my Firefox, so I'm not going to do it again. When you first install it, if you can see the top right of my browser here, there's a little, it looks like a little document. When I hover over it, it says Save to Zotero. When you first install it, it'll be a big capital Z here. But since I've been using the application, it actually looks, or using the extension, it actually looks like a little document. But that's what you'll use to actually save citations to your different projects that you'll use Zotero for. So the first thing I want to show is an example of if you're searching PubMed and you're finding articles that you want to include with your research project that you're going to cite. And so, for example, if I'm, say, atrial fibrillation, I'm looking for articles on AFib. And I find some articles here that I know that I'm going to use in my project. I can select them with these little checkboxes in PubMed. And I can send to, and there's different things you can use within PubMed, but I can send them to a citation manager, which is what I want to use because I'm using Zotero for this. And it'll create a file. It'll say I'm going to create a file from that selection of 4 articles. I create my file, and it's going to create this PubMed-atrialfibra-set.nbib file. So I'm going to save that file. So now I've got in my downloads folder, I have this nbib file that was for my citation manager. So then if I go into my Zotero application, we're not using Word yet, I'm just using the Zotero application itself, and I go to File, Import, it'll tell you, it'll give examples of different types of files. These are all different types of files that you can have citations in. And I'll just select Next. And in my downloads, here's my file that I just downloaded for atrial fibrillation with those citations. I'm going to copy those files. And 4 items were imported. Now I've got these 4 citations in my Zotero application that I can use in my project that I'm working on. You'll see over here when I click on them, it automatically determines that it's a journal article, the title of the journal article. I've got my author information. I even have abstract information here, publication, volume and issue number, my page numbers, date of publication. I even have my DOI and my ISSN here. So this is really pretty powerful tool that it does all this for you, just with the simple export and import of those particular citations. I do want to show you that if you're just doing, say you're not going to select all these articles at once. Let's say I don't want to export. I just want to look at this persistent atrial fibrillation versus paroxysmal atrial fibrillation. And I just found that one article and I sort of went away from my project and came back to it another day to work on it. When I've got this article, this individual article pulled up, that extension that I installed for Zotero, if I click on this tool, it'll ask what I'm saving, what I want to save to. It already has the last article pulled up. Let me try that again. The last location pulled up, and if I click on this drop down, you can actually choose different projects that you're working on. If you're working on several different projects at once, and let's say I want to save that citation to the set that I already created, and I click done. When I go back into my Zotero application, here's that article. It's just been added, all the information, journal article, the title of it, author, my DOI, all my stuff. It's just been added to that project that I'm currently working on. So that's another way you can do that. And what's cool about this is that once you have the extension in your browser, you can actually use different resources and just use the extension in your browser to save those citations to your project. So if I go into Medline with full text, for example, and I'm going to use this instead of PubMed, of course, Medline indexes full text content from PubMed, but it's just another resource that we have. Clinical outcomes in patients with atrial fibrillation and frailty. I can click on this article, look at my abstract, say, yes, I want to use this. Here's this tool again. I want to save it to this set, that same set we're working on. Click done. That article has been added to this project. So I'm building my citations for my project here just by clicking this extension on each individual article that I'm looking at. I do want to mention briefly that it doesn't work perfectly with all of our resources. So you may still have to build some, manually. But so for example, like when I'm using clinical key, say, if I'm looking for an article in clinical key and I find this diagnosis of atrial fibrillation, it pulls up my article and I still have my tool here for Zotero, but when I save this, you'll notice that it's, this is a snapshot, error occurred while saving this item. It may not do that. Sometimes it'll try to save articles in clinical key as a web page instead of the actual article. So it doesn't totally integrate perfectly with clinical key, but still really powerful tool. So that's just some of the ways you can actually save the citations to your project. Can everyone see the Word document opened up on my screen? As I mentioned before, there's a Zotero ribbon added to your Word program when you include that add-on for the program for Zotero. And let's say I'm writing my manuscript. I create this sentence. I'm going to cite that material. I just click on Add Edit Citation. It's going to ask me what style I'm using. Let's say I want to use AMA 11th edition. And what it does by default is pull up this little search bar, Zotero search bar. And I can actually just start typing title of an article and it'll pull up all the articles that I could find there. And I can just click on that particular, here's a citation. I press enter, and it adds a number for my citation there for the AMA style. So if I continue working and say this, this is, and I'm going to add a citation, and let's say so we've already chosen the AMA style. So it's pulled up my search box, and let's say I've got a lot of citations. I can't remember. I don't remember the exact title or the author. I don't want to have to look through a bunch of results. I can click on this drop down next to the Z and go to Classic View, and it'll pull up like a dialog box for Zotero, all my projects here, and a list of all of the citations in each one of my projects. I can say, oh, it was this one. Add that citation. Do another one just so we can get a better view of what a bibliography will look like when we do this. Spell it correctly. And add a citation. And I'll just see it. And I'll grab this one. So I've added some citations here. Oops, I grabbed the same one the third time. But I've added some citations here. I've got my manuscript. I want to edit a bibliography based on the citations that I've used in this manuscript. And I guess I have my mouse pointer in the wrong place, but it'll actually create the bibliography for you. And this is already done in AMA style because that was the citation style that we selected, and it automatically pulls your citations that you've inserted into your manuscript and creates the bibliography or reference list from that. Something kind of neat. I don't know that you would ever really want to do this, but if you say like, oh, I changed my mind, or maybe you're making a submission of one manuscript to 2 different types of journals, so that might be where you would want to use it. And you can go to add edit bibliography with it selected, and I can say, let's see if I can find it. Here it is, document preferences. And let's say I'm making a submission to a different journal that doesn't use AMA and they use APA. So I select a different citation style and it changes my citations. So now I've got parenthetical citations and hanging indent for that APA style for that kind of bibliography. So I've only got 2 minutes left, and the last thing I wanted to show was if you're using a different citation style, there's a ton of styles already included. But if you go to document preferences, you'll see there's these different citation styles: American Chemical Society, AMA, APA, American Sociological Association. I doubt any of us are using Chicago. I think it's for like history. But you can go over here to manage styles if you don't see the style you need here. Click on manage styles. That's not what I want to see. Go to manage styles. And here's all the styles in the style manager, and get additional styles. And you can actually search for a different style that you might not see available and install it into the Zotero application and then use that style within your manuscript. So really useful tool. Again, the university definitely still officially supports RefWorks. Personally, I like Zotero a lot. Seems really user-friendly and easy to navigate and learn how to use. And I just wanted to thank you guys for joining me again this Wednesday. And always want to say that if you have any questions, please reach out to us. This is my email address and my office phone number. If you have a question you're not sure who to ask and you want to reach out to all 3 of us, Diane, Kim, or myself, you can email this LUCOM library at liberty.edu. And this is the phone number for the front desk if you want to just call the front desk. So thank you guys for your time. And I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording now. And